Welcome back to the Disturbed Chronicles. My name's Cams, and I'm glad you're here because today's video we're going to talk about a case that's actually still developing right now. Earlier this month, on July 2nd, 2025, Sunshine Stewart, also known as Sunny, was brutally murdered. And the culprit is a boy named Devin Young, and his last name is very fitting considering he is only 17 years old. Sunshine Stewart was a 48-year-old woman. She was a contractor and she enjoyed the outdoors, and she also had a love for the water. She had her own business in carpentry, and Sunny actually had many different roles throughout her entire life. She was a marine biologist, she was a bartender, a stern man, a lobster man, and she was a boat captain. Sunny was a people person. She was always going hiking and boating. She loved to do paddle boarding, and she also enjoyed yoga from time to time. Sunny is described as a very strong woman who would give you the shirt off her back. She always had a smile on her face, and to know her was a blessing. One of Sunshine's friends, Sarah Vokey, stated her life was not an easy one, but she strode through it with her head held high, with that beaming, all-encompassing smile on her face. One of the many reasons I admired, loved, and appreciated her. Bethany Parmley, one of Sunshine's closest childhood friends, stated she just saw Sunny for a barbecue, and the barbecue was actually located at the Micmac Cove family campground where Sunshine was staying, and a bunch of other friends also attended this barbecue. Reports say during this barbecue that Sunny was her typical self. She was laughing and smiling and just overall enjoying the company of everyone who attended the barbecue. The Micmac Cove family campground was where Sunny was staying, and she had a party planned for the 4th of July for her and her family, which was why she was staying at this campground for a couple of days. Sunshine actually had a friend in town from Washington, D.C., Rachel Blumenberg, and she was staying at Sunshine's home for a couple of days while she was in town with her daughter. And a video actually shows Sunshine showing her friend Rachel's daughter how to paddleboard. On July 2nd, around 6 p.m., Sunshine decided to take a little paddleboarding trip by herself, which wasn't out of the ordinary for her. But that same night, Rachel and her daughter arrived at Sunshine's home around 9 on July 2nd, and allegedly, Rachel stated Sunshine's house was completely dark, and her dog was left inside, which Sunshine was very devoted to her dog, and it was a bit unusual for her to leave her dog behind. But Rachel thought that maybe Sunshine just decided that she would stay at the campground for the night. But after a few unanswered phone calls and texts, Rachel began to worry.
She sensed something was off returning to Stewart's home.
It was around 9 o'clock on Wednesday night, and the house was completely dark, and her dog was there, and she's very devoted to her dog. But after I messaged her and didn't hear back, just in the recesses of my mind, I thought this is a little strange to not hear back. It's a little strange to have a completely dark house.
Blumenberg figured Stewart stayed at the camp.
Reportedly, Catherine Lunt, who is the owner of the Micmac family campground, is the one who called and reported Sunshine Stewart missing after she had never returned from her paddleboarding trip on July 2nd. It was dark and well after the time Sunshine said she was going to be back from her trip. Sunshine spoke to Catherine when she was checking in upon her arrival at the campground, and she was very friendly with her. Sunshine told Kathy maybe they could do some yoga on the beach together, and if she knew any kids that wanted to learn how to paddleboard, that Sunny would teach them how to paddleboard and to send them her way. Sunshine also stated that she was planning her own paddleboarding trip around 6 p.m. and that she would be back around 9. But nobody had heard from Sunshine since she departed at 6 p.m. and nobody knew her whereabouts, and that was out of the ordinary for Sunshine. Catherine actually saw some weird activity from the surveillance footage at the campground. She reported someone was using a flashlight in an unusual fashion. Also, the time that she saw this was unusual as well, considering it was late and the campground was very quiet. Everyone was at their sites just relaxing, and it was dark outside. Nobody should have been out or near the water at this time. So the game wardens, the local sheriff, Union Fire, and the state police all began a search for Sunshine Stewart. The Micmac Family Campground is a pretty large campground. Crawford Pond is a 600-acre pond with a 100-acre island in the middle of it. It was a very complex search. The police had a heavily wooded area to search along with a 10-mile shoreline, and it was also nighttime, and they were experiencing heavy fog on this night as well. So it seems like everything was working against them during the search for Sunshine. It was around midnight, and they had to use boats to access some parts of this campground. And because of the fog, the search teams were using drones to help them aid in their search. But just about an hour or so after the search began, around 1 a.m. on July 3rd, in an area only accessible by boat, game wardens found Sunshine's unoccupied paddleboard. Shortly after this, the body of Sunshine Stewart was found, and she was found on the 100-acre island in the pond along the shoreline. Authorities immediately knew it was foul play considering the unusual circumstances. They knew Sunshine did not drown, and it wasn't an accidental death. Pretty quickly, authorities knew that this was a homicide investigation. So from the time that she left around 6 or 6:30 on July 2nd, to the time her body was found around 1 a.m., that's about 7 hours after Sunshine was last seen. She was reported missing around midnight, so only about an hour after she was reported missing, her body was found. So Catherine Lunt did a very great job with calling and reporting Sunshine Stewart missing. That's a lot of attention to detail because she could have just completely ignored this situation, being the fact that it was so late at night. And then Sunshine's body would have sat outside all night long, and who knows when they would have found it. You always want to act fast when it comes to a missing persons case.
Lunt reviewed her surveillance cameras for any sign of the killer.
I know every vehicle that comes in this campground. I know every camper. I know where they work. I know what they do for a living. I decided that it was best for me to review the footage because I was looking for a stranger, somebody out of the ordinary.
So great job to Catherine Lunt and all of the main officials who brought Sunshine's body home. The police did act quickly after finding Sunshine's body. They began to collect evidence on July 3rd in the surrounding area, and they of course had this area where Sunshine was found closed off from the public. The Micmac Cove Family Campground did remain open considering it was the day before the 4th of July and dozens of families had reserved spots for the holiday weekend. The police urged anyone with information to come forward, and on July 4th, the police continued searching for evidence. The police interviewed campers, paddlers, and any locals who may have been in the area around the time that Sunshine Stewart went missing. The police did search through the surveillance footage from that evening on July 2nd, and media coverage grew very quickly surrounding this case. Her family and friends were very emotional over the loss of Sunshine, and they began to make statements calling for justice. By Friday, July 5th, Sunshine's autopsy was completed, and it revealed that she died from blunt force trauma and strangulation. Her death was officially ruled a homicide, and in the following days, this case gained national media coverage, and Sunshine's family and friends made a GoFundMe, and they raised over $18,000 in just a couple of days. They had a goal of $15,000, but they actually doubled that goal, and now they have raised over $34,000 with over 200 donations. That is so amazing, guys. I love how we can all come together in difficult situations like this and just help out people who are really hurting. You know, not everybody who donates to these causes are people who actually can afford to donate, so we appreciate you guys. Many people in the area started to become worried now because they stated that this area was genuinely safe and things like this didn't happen often. Violent crimes are very rare in Knox County. It's been several days since the murder, and they haven't made any arrests yet. So the police makes a statement on July 10th, just telling the public to be cautious, and they gave very little details about the investigation at that time.
In a statement, the police now urging the public to remain aware of their surroundings and report any suspicious behavior to law enforcement.
I grew up in Union, and as far as I know, nothing like that has ever happened there. And for it to have happened to Sunshine is like, how could that even be? It just makes it feel like nothing will be right again ever.
At this point, I believe police may have the suspect now. And on surveillance footage from July 2nd around 6 p.m., the police see a teenage boy heading out on his boat just minutes before Sunshine Stewart left on her paddle boat. This teenage boy was 17-year-old Devin Young, and this is suspicious because everybody in the area right now should know of this investigation, and they were asked to report any information they may know about that night. On July 16th, the police head back to the Micmac Cove family campground, and they interviewed Devin Young since he is now a person of interest. The police weren't sure if it was Devin in the surveillance footage yet, but he did fit the description. When the police were asking locals if they saw anything, some campers reported seeing Devin on a boat alone within the time frame that Sunshine Stewart went missing. Plus, all of the campers with boats had to register their boats at check-in, so the Young family was on this list with an aluminum fishing boat which matched the boat they saw on the camera footage. But when the police arrived at the campground around 7 p.m. on July 16th, Devin Young actually approached the officers. He stated that he had information about this case, and Devin actually leads the police officers to the 100-acre island where Sunshine Stewart's body was found. But Devin takes them to the opposite side of where her body was discovered. He thought the spot would help the police, and he told them that it was an important place on the island. Devin stated that something unusual happened at that spot, and he stated he had heard some weird things. This only made the police more suspicious of Devin, though, because he led them to the wrong side of the island, which suggests that Devin was trying to steer investigators in the wrong direction.
He volunteered. He said he had some information, and he took him in the opposite direction of where Sonny was found.
Now, the shaken community is remembering the woman known as Sunny.
She was just a shining light that was so excited to be here and enjoy her summer. Somebody lost their life, a beautiful individual, just going out for a paddle and never came back, and that's not fair.
So after the police and Devin head back to the Micmac Cove family campground, they interviewed Devin and his family for about 2 hours. What Devin told police didn't match up with the timeline of events that they had, which caused detectives to go back to the surveillance footage and re-examine it. At this point, Devin already placed himself at the scene of the crime. He took police to the island and showed them that he was familiar with this location of where they found Sunshine Stewart's body.
I looked at the surveillance, went back to the surveillance cameras to see where he was at the time, and those surveillance videos indicated he was on the lake at the time.
After the police confirmed all of this, they felt confident enough to place Devin Young under arrest. So around 10:30, that same night on July 16th, the police go back to the Micmac Cove family campground and arrest Devin Young. Devin Young was charged with first-degree murder for the death of Sunshine Stewart. It's stated that he acted in depraved indifference due to how he brutally attacked and murdered Sunshine Stewart. Devin was taken to the Long Creek Youth Development Center, which is a juvenile detention facility in Maine. Devin is not yet considered an adult, being the fact that he is only 17 years old. This is really scary to think that Devin was in this park the entire time that this investigation was going on. They found Sunshine's body on July 3rd, early in the morning, and Devin didn't get arrested until July 16th. So for almost 2 weeks, a murderer was walking around this campsite with all of these people and children around, acting like nothing had happened.
For 2 weeks is haunting. He was not on anyone's radar. That whole week he was offering campers help with different tasks that they were doing. He acted like nothing ever happened.
Devin has lived in Maine his whole life. His family annually visits the Micmac Cove Family Campground every single year, and Devin was a part of a band called David Young and the Interstate Kings. Devin will turn 18 in September, and the police had already filed a motion to try Devin Young as an adult. Now, the judge must decide whether Devin will face adult or juvenile proceedings. Devin did see a judge on July 18th for his arraignment, and he has denied all allegations. Devin has not yet been set for bail or bond yet, if he even will receive one. He is remaining in jail at this time. Devin has a status conference hearing scheduled for August 22nd, 2025, so next month. During this hearing, we may have a verdict on whether Devin will be tried as an adult or not, but I'm fairly certain he will be, considering by the time he actually goes to trial, he will be a legal adult. There is a lot of speculation surrounding this case, but we don't have any actual proof of how Sunshine was killed or why she was killed by Devin. Some people think Devin used an oar from Sunshine's paddle boat, but again, this is just speculation.
All I can say is I do imagine that she put up one hell of a fight. You know, she was a fierce woman.
Sunshine was described by so many as an extremely friendly woman, so if Devin approached her on that island, he may have been able to get close to her without being aggressive at first. But because this case is still developing, farther information has yet to be released to the public. When Devin goes for his next court date on August 22nd, we can do a short follow-up video just to give some updates about the case. But this is a very unusual and sad case, being the fact that Devin is so young to do such a horrible thing to an innocent person that he doesn't even know.
Honestly, she's like one of the best people I ever knew. Sorry. She was somebody who believed in everyone she ever met.
Kimberly Hamill has known Sunshine since grade school.
She was a biologist and she was also a carpenter. She owned her own construction business. She had this incredible life.
Sunshine had such a beautiful and kind soul. She didn't deserve this, and Devin is so young. They might take it easy on him because of that, but I think Devin will be punished for what he did to Sunshine. And that's the bright side. So that's it for today's video. And if you enjoyed this video, guys, do me a favor, make sure you hit that like button and please subscribe so you don't miss any of my future content. I post videos every Sunday, and hopefully I will see you on the next disturbing video.